That previous one was a beautiful, beautiful talk. Very hard to follow, but I'll give it my go. Out of the night that covers me, black as a pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods there may be for my uncontrollable soul. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. I'm Rumi Khan. What I would like to touch up on here is that last line of the uncontrollable soul. It's something that each and every single one of us possesses. It's a flame that we need to feed in order to let it grow into a roaring fire. Now, I had prepared a lot of things that I wanted to say today, but after hearing the previous two, I just jotted down a couple of notes, and I think I'm going to try to tailor it to the previous two speakers. So this unconquerable soul, I feel, is achieved only through relentless positivity. Small example. You're walking down the road, you slip, you fall, you hurt your ankle. Now you can fixate on that pain or think that, hey, I've got a good leg. I can hop myself onto a rickshaw to a doctor and have that looked at. Now the reason why I use this example is because when I was a kid, my mom and dad are here in the stage, this actually happened where my mom rolled her ankle and my dad actually carried her a long way so we could see this laser light show. So it's turning a bad situation into a good one. You see, discomfort, something that we always try to stay away from, we always want to be in a very, very comfortable zone, can lead to stagnancy. Discomfort can actually lead to growth. We learn a lot of things from nature. If we just look at a lobster, for example, you've got a soft animal stuck inside a hard shell, a shell that does not grow. However, this lobster does. And at a point, it feels discomfort to a point where it needs to then shed that shell to grow a new one to become a bigger, better lobster. So what I'm trying to get at is even that discomfort, even that situation should be used in a positive manner to lead to growth. I remember when I was in university, just earlier on, maybe my third semester at uni, I lost my scholarship and I was embarrassed to tell my parents. So whatever money I had, I used to pay off the tuition and pay for my rent. And that put me in a situation where I literally had $2 a day to live on for the rest of that month until I could, get another paycheck again. So at that time, I was 17 years old. It's a very disheartening situation. But what I did is I went out and bought some cheap 2-minute noodles and stood outside a Chinese restaurant until they closed. And I convinced them to give me the food that they were going to throw out so I could then take it home, recook it, and to be honest, for the remainder of that time, I actually had pretty good meals. So if that is the worst that can happen, that gives me confidence moving forward in life because I've already faced that. I've already overcome it, and it has done nothing to me. Now, this is where I move into another philosophy. It is called Stoicism. Something that some of the greatest minds and people in this world have used. So if you're talking about Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, Nelson Mandela, one of the biggest advocates was also Seneca the Younger, which I believe she put a quote up on. So the word Stoicism comes from stoa, which is essentially a porch of sort or a balcony where these wise philosophers used to stand and preach their wisdom to those that would then hear it. I'm trying to tailor it as much as I can to the previous speakers. Stoicism allows you, or following the principles of Stoicism, allows you to thrive in high-stress situations. it teaches you to be able to decipher between those elements or external stimuli, if you will, that you can actually control and those that are out of your control. So if you're stuck in traffic, that traffic is out of your control. But if you take a positive approach to it, why don't you read a book or pick up the phone and call your mother, which I'm sure you should have done yesterday, but you probably didn't. Now, I'd like to actually talk about another story of my life, which leads to this positive way of thinking. After I finished my master's in Australia, and now by this time I have 4 years of experience as well, I started applying to jobs, and I'm thinking, hey, I've got a great education, I've got experience, I should be out there, getting a pretty damn good job. I got absolutely no replies. Few rejections. Most of them didn't even bother to, send me a rejection email. So there I am sitting there depressed thinking, man, I must be doing something wrong. But then I thought, okay, well, why don't I just get anything? So after those 2 master's degrees, I got myself a job as a part-time call center attendant at one of the banks, with the thought that, once I'm inside the organization, I will find my way. So, okay, how do I find my way now? So next thing, there is a job fair. So I go to this job fair, I go to the next department up, which is Premier Banking, and I go to one of the attendants over there, and I'm like, well, look, I'm really, really interested in working for your department. What's the procedure here? I mean, how do I apply? Is it a traineeship? The man just looks at me dead in the face and says, look, we hire much higher caliber than what you get from a call center, so there's no chance that we'd be hiring you. Now this, again, annoyed me, disheartened me, and I turned around and I was about to walk out until one of my colleagues just tapped me on the shoulder and he said, is that it, Rumi? Are you really going to allow this one person to dictate what's going to happen to you next? That just hit a nerve. I turned around, I walked back into that room, and I studied the room. And I saw that there was one man there in the back that everyone was gravitating to. Turns out he was the head of entire corporate of the entire state of Victoria, which is Melbourne. Walked up to him, gave him my little pitch, ended up getting his phone number. Now, after that, which is that relentlessness, I texted him every morning at 9 o'clock on the dot, wishing him a good day and asking him when he had time to come and catch up with me. 2.5 weeks later, he calls me back and he says, Rumi, you are relentless. I'm like, look, I'm happy to keep calling you for another 2 weeks if you want. But, I mean, if you can find some time right now, I'd like to come over. I'll buy the coffee. Why don't you tell me how I can work with you? That started a very, very sharp trajectory inside that bank that led me to a very, very high position as a national manager, and I was actually one of the youngest ones there in Australia to do that. Now, in this process, in this journey, everywhere I went, every department, every colleague, everyone just said, okay, oh, you're too young to be here. Oh, you haven't spent enough time in this department. Why are you applying somewhere else? Oh, no, you do not have experience to work in that job. It was just naysayers, absolute naysayers, telling me how I could not do things. If I want to go from the airport from here, am I going to be asking you guys how not to get there? Which road not to take? No, I'll be asking you how to get there. So to that I say, just ignore them all. Find the strength within yourself. Be relentlessly positive. Work hard. But by using the philosophies of Stoicism, that hard work actually becomes smart work. So, after the bank, what next? These philosophies of Stoicism actually promote a present state of awareness. So the now, rather than what's happened before or in the future. So if you're focused on the past, like absolutely the past, what you're getting is depression, regret, remorse. What if I could have done that? What if that would have happened? Or if you're fixated on some particular thing in the future, you just get anxiety, because what if it doesn't happen? Now, if you look at life in general, it's a tapestry weaved together by just the moments of now. So that is something that I would urge you to do, is to focus and concentrate on what your ability is to do now, what you can control, what you can't control. And I'm standing here not reinventing the wheel. These are, words of great philosophers and many men and women that have come before me and succeeded and done much, much more. There's a saying that I like to repeat, and I say this to a lot of my friends. I have seen the world because I was raised on their shoulders by giants. And it is up to you to find your own giants. They may be in your family, maybe your parents, maybe a cousin, maybe younger than you, maybe older than you. But it is up to you to go and to find them. So, no matter how straight the gate or how charged with punishment the scroll, you are the master of your destiny and the captain of your soul. Thank you very much for listening to me. I'm Rumi Khan.